I have no idea what the last thing I recorded was. Um, and looking at my camera here, we are drastically off level. Hold on there. There you go. All right. So, um, I cut off the end piece going across right here, and now I need to flip it back over. I was getting rid of all the welds and stuff, and ended up I had to use a sawzall to cut the piece off. But I got to flip it back over now so I can weld prep it, so I can tack that piece back on, just so I can square it up. And the whole thing, when it comes apart, because I got to cut all the beams off to square it back up. I'm going to tack weld that piece in there just so I can not have the frame fall over. Now, I'm going to have to do a little setup for the entirety of the frame when I do it this time, so I can have the square frame somewhat square and level when we go to do the rest of the work. But that's going to make my job a little harder once we start cutting things off, like almost completely cut off. So give me a couple minutes. We're going to flip it over again. We're going to flip it over again. All right. Now, I got this here. It doesn't weigh nowhere near what it did the first time I flipped it over. Makes this a whole lot easier, but it's going to be a whole lot harder to flip it the last time I flip it over. Because it's going to be all the metal I had the first time, and then a little extra. So, the system I found for doing this was, come back over here, and instead of scooching it, I don't have my boots on. I was picking this up and walking the block along. Just walking along. Gotta go from side to side. Would be nice to have help, but, you know. Yeah, I'll take what I can get. Alright, let's see if I can make it go here. Alright. So we're almost all the way back where we need to be. And the whole reason for these blocks is to keep this from dragging the fender on the ground. That's the only reason I'm using them. Alright, now I'm going to bring it down. I should be able to scooch it. That last little bit. Now, alright. Now you see how she twisted? We can't have that when we go to weld it up. Can't have that at all. And so, I was looking on how to get this set up so we can get this jack stand has gotten rusty right in here, and I probably should never use this for a car again. But I can't remove it because I think it's welded in right here. I might be able to knock that pin out. I don't know. But it's rusty and doesn't want to rotate like it's supposed to. Hey. That's all it took. Go and complain and show it to the mechanic. Works fine. Okay. So that's the maximum height though. That's the maximum height for this jack stand. Those 6-ton ones, substantially more. But we gotta lift this thing way up in the air. Get this part of the job done. Now you see how the frame is twisted? We gotta avoid that even just a little bit when we go to weld it. And so we're gonna set up a system that online forums say they use for setting these things up to weld. I don't know how well it's going to work. We're going to give it a try. Whoops. I don't think that's supposed to happen. Alright, see? Now that's dramatically twisted. Much like my sense of humor. Oddly enough, that one never does that. I did wrong that time. Alright, now you see the twist in it? We gotta avoid that at all costs when we go to weld this up. Now, what they say is, when you're trying to level something, 4 points but not as level as using 3. And so we have to learn how to repair this using 3 points of contact. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to establish 3 points of contact for the remainder of this build. And I don't know if I need to do that yet or not, but I'm fairly certain we'll have to. And yeah, even here now, because my yard is unlevel, I don't think I'm going to do the 3 points contact just yet. I'm teasing you. I know I am. But 3 points contact, I can create a plane. You know, it doesn't matter. It always will be in a plane to each other with 3 points contact. Now you notice I got my beams all set up here. Let's just go ahead and make it. Even if take it down, it doesn't matter. I'll show you what I'm thinking. And what's going to happen is I need to have access to all this stuff to cut off bad welds and cut off these beams and grind, prep everything for welding. Now what I did notice as I cut things off is they welded over paint. They welded over paint on a lot of this. And that makes life harder for me. But we'll get to that in a minute. What was I thinking? I'm scatterbrained this morning. I'm all over the place. Now, the 3 points of contact do not have to necessarily be on the trailer. The 3 points of contact can be on the ground as long as the pieces I use to establish my 3 points of contact are straight and level. Well, they don't have to be level. They don't even have to be level. 3 points of contact will give you a plane, and that's all we need to worry about. For flatness, you need a plane to establish flatness, and that's what we're going to do. Alright, so I've got a big block here, and I think I'm going to have to put little 4x4 blocks underneath of it. I'm not certain, but I'm fairly certain I think we're going to have to. And so I'm going to keep these back a little bit so I can clamp this frame, the top rail and all to it, which kind of sucks because the top rail as it sits is flat this way, but it's curved on both sides. It's curved out on one side, curved, and both sides curve out away from the inside of the trailer. So we got to figure out a way to fix that. And so, in doing so, we're going to establish. All right, we're going to establish our plane. And these tubes are straightest and most square level flat things I got. So hopefully, I'm going to check that one more time. You may have heard that noise. Yeah. Someone took a plasma cutter and cut out some holes so they could have access to some bolts. And as such, let's not do that. Alright. I should be able to set the trailer down on those now. And I have 1, 2, 3 points of contact with my nice, flat, straight, square tubing. And they all, as long as I can get these two right here next to each other to touch. As long as I can get those to touch right there, we should be able to make a flat plane in which weld this back flat. That's the hope. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but that was a suggestion of other people. So we're going to give it a shot. I'm going to walk around and do the 4 corners, drop them all down. And then we'll pull the jack stands out. Maybe I'll just drop the jack stands out of the thing. Alright. Oh no! Oh wait, the fender was lower than that bottom rail in this perspective, it should be higher. So we should be good to go. Alright. And that's it. We now have a flat frame of reference. It looks like it's 8 foot wide here. It's not quite 2 foot wide where the trailer is sitting on it. Actually, it might be on the inside. On the outside, probably just under 2 foot, like 23 and a half. That is a nice flat plane of reference. So I need to get my welding prep done over here so I can tack this together, tack this piece back on. And so when I finish cutting the rest of them off, they don't just go flop down. Now you see, the first thing I ought to do is cut that back corner off, put 2 tacks on the back corner back there, and then put 2 tacks on the front corner here, square the frame, and then start clamping things down. And hopefully that will leave us with a flat frame of reference. But I can't, when I go to cut everything apart, I want to keep it from flopping in on itself. So I got to do this one, do that one, and tack those pieces in. Just tack. And then cut all these off. Then we square it up. On a flat plane. 3 points contact will create a flat plane. Doesn't mean it's level. It doesn't have to be level. What you want is a flat plane. That's what we're looking for. So that gave me a flat plane. That took me longer than I hoped to explain, but I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll be back in a few.